Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I appreciate you all signing in and tuning in with us. Please do mute your mics and turn your cameras off, as this will allow for optimal presentation quality. I am Shoshana Williams, and I provide technical assistance for Titles 1 and 5.
Good morning, I'm Erin Suddeth, and I'm the branch manager for the Title I Part A Support and Improvement branch, and Title V is located within that branch.
Okay, so what we're going to do today, we're going to change things up just a little bit because we're going to be answering questions throughout the presentation. Normally, we wait to the end, but because we have several different topics, I wanted to give anyone a chance to ask a question after the topic concluded. So we'll pause at the end of each section in order to see if there are any questions. And here's an overview of what we are going to discuss today. 89% of our initial survey respondents requested a presentation on allowable expenditures for Title V funding. And because Title V supports all of the other titles, it's important to have some background on each title to know how to best support it. Today, we're going to discuss a general overview of each of the titles 1 through 4 with the goal that you'll better understand how to support them with your Title V funds. If you'd like a more detailed explanation of each title, please use the links to the December 2022 webinar and PowerPoint where consultants from each title presented. Then I'm going to highlight some resources, helpful resources for you as a Title V coordinator. And don't forget that the webinar and PowerPoint will be posted to the Title V portion of our KDE website shortly after the conclusion of today's presentation. So when it comes to deciding how to use your Title V funding, where do you start? Well, the most important thing to start with is your district's needs assessment. That is the document where the goals that your district has for student achievement can be found. When you are creating your Title V application, all your program details, narratives, and budget narratives should link a funded item to the needs assessment. CDIPs and CSIPs are based on the district's needs assessment and give more detailed information about funding needs your district has. Prior year's GMAP applications are also good to review. It's important to look at what has been funded in the past and to evaluate if another funding resource can be used to free up Title V dollars for other initiatives. Since Title V supports the other programs, it would be good to meet periodically with the district coordinators of those other title programs. You could also reach out to the PFE coordinator or the homeless liaison to see if there are specific ways that those programs need more funding in your district. Because the coordinator has more knowledge of their specific title program, they're a valuable resource when choosing how to allocate your Title V funding. RAND definitely should be considered when allocating any Title V funding. RAND, of course, stands for reasonable, allocable, necessary, and documented. In order to determine whether a purchase is reasonable, ask yourself these questions. Is the cost of the purchase prudent given the program's needs? Did you verify that no similar products or services are less expensive while accomplishing the same objective? For allocable, ask yourself, does the purchase meet the intent and purpose of the grant and benefit the service or activity being supported by the grant? For necessary, simply, is the cost essential for the proper and efficient functioning of the program? And then last, don't forget to document every purchase made with Title V funds. So because Title V does support the other programs, it is important to know the intent of each of the title programs to better understand how to support it. First, I'm going to do a presentation about Title I and its purpose. So with Title I, it is one of the largest federal programs supporting elementary and secondary education. And the resources are intended to ensure all children have a fair, equal, and significant opportunity to obtain a high quality education, support students' ability to achieve proficiency on challenging state achievement, academic achievement standards and assessments, target districts and schools in the greatest need, and to supplement, increase the level of service, not supplant or replace other funding sources. A district's parent and family engagement set aside is often supplemented by Title V funds. Even if you receive less than $500,000 in Title I funding, you still can support PFE initiatives with Title V. In general, this component has many requirements. School and district parent and family engagement activities must fall into two general categories: providing parents notice and information regarding the education of their children, such as right to participate, request teacher qualifications, and the 4-week notice. And also implement activities that engage parents and families in the school community and with their children's education. All districts and schools have required activities that must be conducted with parents. Parents and families must be consulted on the use of the parent and family engagement funds, be involved in the development of the Title I program, be involved in the Title I program evaluation at the school level, and be involved in the development of the district and school level policies and school compacts. Parent and family engagement requirements must be met by all districts, including those not required to reserve the funds. When I discuss the ways that Kentucky districts are using their funds to support each title program, these are things that have already been approved in their applications for FY24, the current year. They can also be tied to their needs assessments and meet the requirements of RAND. Now, these may not be allowable in all districts because all initiatives must be tied to your needs assessment. Currently in Kentucky, some ways that districts are supporting Title I with their Title V funds are a Title I liaison or coordinator, teacher salary and benefits for things like class size reduction, tutoring, or intervention, academic intervention and credit recovery software, supplemental intervention materials and supplemental curriculum, intervention assessments, outside of school interventions such as tutoring or summer school, and you can fund things like teacher stipends, materials, and transportation, supplementing non-Title I schools. So your schools that aren't supported with your Title I funds, you can support those with Title V. So things like teacher salaries for an alternative or preschool program, materials, intervention materials, instructional assistance, staff salaries in the Title I schools that work with behaviorally at-risk students, project-based learning materials, academic intervention coaches for students, college career readiness coaches, ACT preparation materials, district multi-tiered system of supports coordinators, district or school level instructional coaches, and district or school level positive behavioral interventions and supports coordinator. So again, those are things that our districts are currently doing with their Title V funds to support Title I. And please do remember that this is just a list. It doesn't represent a complete list, so it is just some of the things. Other examples of things that could be done are supplementing the salaries of Title I support staff. For example, data management staff for Title I only, administrative assistants for Title I only, and Title I coordinators. Field trip that are aligned with academic content can also be supported, as well as educational consultants. Regarding parent and family engagement specifically, some of our Kentucky districts are currently using their funds to pay stipends for teachers to conduct technology training for parents of English learners to learn how to use the two-way communication technology that their school is using. Parent involvement nights, so things like teacher stipends for those materials and childcare, and then two-way communication software subscription. Many examples of those. And again, this isn't an exhaustive list. It's just how our Title V coordinators in Kentucky are using their Title V funds to support parent and family engagement. Always make sure that it's aligned with your needs assessment and RAND, of course. And the intent with parent and family engagement is always two-way communication. So this means that the school and parent they're actively communicating back and forth. This allows both the school or district and families to exchange opinions, information, and ideas. Basically, information transfer and feedback. This slide contains some helpful resources for Title I with hyperlinks included. So the first bullet, or the first bullet is actually the link to our Title I portion of our KDE website. It is our general information and resources for Title I. And Erin Sudduth, who just introduced herself, she is the branch manager of Title I. Her contact information is on there, as well as it's hyperlinked right there on that slide for you. Other important things on there are documents and resources for Title I Part A, general resources, budget and financial resources, comparability report resources, consolidated monitoring documents, monthly webinars and newsletter links for all of the Title I webinars that Ms. Sudduth does, and then equitable services to private schools. So if you need information about that, and then parent and family engagement resources. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat and we will answer them now about Title I, how to support Title I, which includes parent and family engagement. So we'll just pause a moment. Okay, well, if you think of anything, you're welcome to put that in when we finish going over Title II as well. So now we're going to look at ideas of how Title II can be best supported with Title V funding. For Title II Part A, the intent is to provide supplemental activities that strengthen the quality and effectiveness of teachers, principals, and other school leaders in order to increase student achievement, improve teacher and principal effectiveness, increase the number of teachers, principals, and other school leaders who are effective in improving student academic achievement in schools, and to provide low-income and minority students greater access to effective teachers, principals, and other school leaders. Expenditures can fall under these categories: professional learning experiences, recruitment of staff, retention of staff, career pathways for teacher advancement, and equitable distribution of effective educators. Here are ways that our Title V coordinators are currently supporting Title II Part A with their Title V funds. Again, these are all in their approved GMAP applications and meet the requirements of RAND and align with their needs assessment. They may not be allowable in all districts because your initiatives have to be tied to your needs assessment. So here we have professional development. So examples of that are currently being funded are rigorous student-centered positive classrooms, positive behavioral interventions and supports, college and career readiness, student engagement, and curriculum alignment. District professional development coach salary or stipend, district curriculum coach, materials and mentor stipends for new teacher cohorts, fees for dual credit certification, national board certification, and the praxis, substitutes for any PD that removes teachers from the classroom, fees associated with traveling to model schools to observe, and district hosted PDs, so speaker fees and materials for those. Other acceptable uses include teacher recruitment and retention initiatives and expenses related to the equitable distribution of teachers. This is a link to our KDE Title II website, and Dana Kelly has recently become the new branch manager. Her information is there hyperlinked. It'll go straight to her email. Does anyone have any questions over Title II, supporting Title II with your Title V funds? I'll give you a minute to drop those in the chat. Okay, so again, if you think of anything for one or two, feel free when we break again to drop that in the chat. So now we're going to look at Title III, Part A, which is English Learner Program. The Title III Part A English Learner Program is a U.S. Department of Education grant program that provides supplemental funding to help support English learners and immigrant students by supplementing the existing English Learner Program and language education services the district is required to provide under civil rights laws. Funds are awarded to state education agencies, which then subgrant funds to local education agencies. Title III funds must add to or supplement and not replace or supplant other federal, state, and local funds that are used to meet civil rights obligations. Title III does have required activities. Under Section 3115C of the Every Student Succeeds Act, Title III requires that 3 activities be in place as part of a district's EL program. The first is effective high-quality language education program, or LEIP, excuse me. Title III funds should supplement the program. Effective, high-quality professional development that is sustained, intensive, collaborative, job-embedded, data-driven, and classroom-focused, and parent, family, and community engagement activities that enhance or supplement LIEPs. It is important to note that your district does not need to be awarded a Title III allocation to support the intent of Title III for English learners in your schools. That's one of the great things about Title V funds, is that they can fill needs that wouldn't be possible otherwise. So for our Kentucky districts, here are ways that they are using their Title V funds to support Title III. An EL paraprofessional salary for extra student support in the classroom. Professional development for those that work with EL families. And you could do things like the registration and associated costs for that. Outside of school tutoring for EL students, so teacher stipends, materials, transportation. And remember that if a service fulfills a civil right for an EL student, it is not an allowable service with title funds. You must meet that with another funding source. So other things that you could use your funds for are recruitment of staff trained to support immigrant children and youth, provide tutorials, mentoring, or academic or career counseling for immigrant children and youth, and activities coordinated with other entities to offer comprehensive community services. Again, as with all these other examples I've given, this isn't an exhaustive list. These are just ways that our state is using their Title V funds. And then here is our contact information for Title III. We have some links here. We've got a district guide for the English Learners Program, Title III required subgrantee activities, spending Title III Part A funds, 2015 Dear Colleague letter, and an English Learner Toolkit. Our branch manager is Neil Watts, and we have down Cayman Triplett and Brandy Neal as program consultants. So if you have any questions regarding Title III, please feel free to reach out to them. And also, does anyone have any questions about using Title V to support Title III? Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat, so we're going to go ahead and move on to Title IV. Because Title IV has so many varied ways to support it with Title V funds, I'm going to go a little more in depth with it. The purpose of Title IV Part A is to improve students' academic achievement by increasing the capacity of states, districts, schools, and communities to provide all students with access to and success in a well-rounded education, improve school conditions for student learning, safe and healthy school students, and maximize and enhance the effective use of technology in order to improve the academic achievement and digital literacy of all students. These are ways that our districts are supporting Title IV with Title V funds. And these are all in their approved GMAP applications, and they have met the requirements of RAN and were determined to have met alignment with their needs assessment. So we have a media specialist salary, district digital literacy coach stipend or salary, district technology coordinator, one-to-one Chromebooks, either the devices or replacement devices, project lead the way supplies and instructor training, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or STEM equipment, social emotional learning resources and curriculum, school resource officers at the FY22 GMAP approved funding level, school nurses, interactive boards for classrooms, supplemental funding for Jobs for America and AmeriCorps staff, extra school counselors, contracted community counseling services, Wi-Fi hotspots for student access, and weapons detection systems. Remember that there are different categories within Title V, so there are many initiatives that can be approved. With well-rounded education activities, that would include things like STEM, music and arts, foreign language, college and career counseling, environmental education, social and emotional learning, civics education, career and technical education program supports, accelerated learning programs, and high school redesign with dual or concurrent enrollment in early college high schools. Safe and supportive schools activities can include things like bullying and harassment prevention, relationship building skills, school dropout prevention, reentry programs and transition services for justice involved youth, child sexual abuse awareness and prevention, reducing exclusionary discipline practices and promoting supportive school discipline, suicide prevention, violence prevention, crisis management, and conflict resolution, preventing human trafficking, building school and community relationships, and culturally responsive teaching and professional development of implicit bias. With student physical and mental health, safety resource officers fall under that. You have health and safety practices in schools or athletic programs, so you could fund initiatives surrounding that. School-based mental health services, healthy, active lifestyle, nutritional education, trauma-informed classroom management, preventing the use of alcohol, tobacco, and electronic cigarettes, and chronic disease management. And I'm again going to touch on SROs because they are a requirement of schools now. We did have some districts that were funding them in FY22. So those districts are allowed to continue to fund them at the approved amount for FY22. So you would not be able to do that now if you hadn't already done that in FY22. Use of funds for effective use of technology can be things like ongoing professional development for teachers, principals, other school leaders, or other personnel in blended learning strategies. Providing professional development in the use of technology to enable teachers and instructional leaders to increase student achievement. Developing or using effective or innovative strategies for delivery of specialized or rigorous academic courses using technology, including digital learning technologies and assistive technologies. Stipends for teachers attending training outside their contracted time that isn't part of their required 24 hours of professional learning. Registration and travel costs associated with professional learning conferences and trainings. Paying consultant fees or stipends for a technology coach. Substitutes for teachers providing training or participating in activities supported under this section of the grant, meaning Title IV. And then effective use of technology activities can be stipends for teachers attending training outside of their contracted time that isn't part of their required 24 hours of professional learning. Registration and travel costs associated with professional learning conferences and trainings, paying consultant fees for stipends for a technology coach, and substitutes for teachers providing training or participating in activities supported under this section of the grant. Here we have our information for Title V or Title IV Part A, excuse me. We have the web page link there. And then we have the district coordinator handbook for Title IV. Our new branch manager for Title IV is Layla Brewer, and Lee Bowling is one of our program consultants. So their contact information is there as well. Does anyone have any questions they would like to drop in the chat regarding Title IV being supported with Title V? Okay, I don't see any questions. So if you think of any, just drop them in the chat anyway. We'll answer them for you. So now I always like to provide a helpful resource spotlight. And I usually almost always highlight our ESEA Now subscription that we have. It used to be called Title I Admin. We have provided this subscription to all districts for the 23-24 school year at no cost. The emails come to your inbox twice a week, and they have very helpful articles on Title I and other title programs. If you're not receiving these emails, reach out to your Title I coordinator to be included in your district's subscription. And then I have chosen to highlight a few of the specific features of the ESEA Now emails that you would be receiving. So one of the sections of the website is called Do's and Don'ts. And basically it's an informational page with financial and programmatic moves you should and shouldn't make and why. Some of the topic examples include assessments, foster care, family engagement, English learners, and private schools. And then I have links to two of the articles that I read that I thought were especially helpful for some of the things that I see with my Title I districts and Title V districts. There was a specific article about how to document items purchased with title funds, and a specific article about the requirements of an annual review by an LEA of the Parent and Family Engagement Plan. So take advantage of those resources. The next section I want to highlight of the website is a part called Can You Pay For? It's an informational page with examples of allowable or unallowable uses of federal education funds that use the principles of RAND. And it's divided into topics like homeless education, preschool, safety, and transportation. Here I've highlighted a specific question, and it's about the allowability of online mental health services. I know a lot of schools are interested in things like that because of the shortage of different staff members. So if that's something that's of interest to you, be sure to read that article. Asked and answered. This is a page with questions asked to the U.S. Department of Education and the official answers given to Title I educators and administrators. The one that I've chose to highlight here is about the required Title I meeting. What information must a Title I school share with parents about the academic program? So again, if you click these links, it'll take you straight to the actual section of the website, or you can click the links under the main links and you can read those specific articles. One last resource I would like to highlight is a one I saw in the email, and it says ESA EA Now's Top 10 Sample Forms and Tools of 2023. Let's see. I do want to show you that. There it is. Can you see it? Okay. Okay, so here are some of the examples. I just thought this was a great resource because it's sample forms and tools. I have lots and lots of people that I work with throughout the state that are always asking me, is there a template or is there a sample? And this is a nice little collection of those for you. So here we have a checklist of required grants management documentation for SEAs and LEAs, a flow chart with considerations before you spend Title I funds on food, building an agenda for an annual Title I meeting, guiding questions to ask before spending Title I funds, annual parent and family engagement feedback survey. So it's actually a sample survey. Required elements of a Title I school-wide program, a transportation MOU for youth experiencing homelessness. This is really important. We do see a lot of findings with people not having these transportation agreements or they're not correct. How to determine if employee works on multiple cost objectives. Title I and Title VIII equitable services consultation requirements, and direct administrative responsibilities. So please take advantage of these resources. And then for my last slide, it is my contact information, which, yes. It went to the beginning. Okay. Okay. Did anyone have any last questions they wanted to ask that you've thought of? If not, Thank you for attending today. We appreciate you logging in. And we want you to contact us anytime. Feel free, either by phone or email. Don't forget that this webinar and PowerPoint will be posted to the Title V portion of the KDE website for your convenience shortly after we end today. And the links on our Title V or any of our title program websites are accessible by anyone. So they don't have to be, a Title V coordinator, a Title I coordinator. Anybody can access the links on the KDE website. So please do take advantage of that. And there was a survey that was sent in your invitation email. I would appreciate if you would take time to complete that, because it helps us determine how to conduct our future webinars. Okay. Thank you and have a great day.